Okay, children. So yesterday we were discussing about the changes in matter, how the changes takes place in the matter. So we all have discussed about the reversible change, irreversible change, and I think it is clear to you all. And today we'll see, and even we have seen fast and slow changes also. Fast and slow changes. So children, a few of them are still confused regarding this fast and slow changes. Here, fast changes are those which happen within a second or minutes. It happens with a very high speed. You must not get confused. Just read it properly. Read the question which is being given to you, what the teacher is asking you. Just think about it for a while and then give answer. What is the change which is being asked by the teacher? So if the teacher is asking you whether the change is it's happening like example, burning of crackers, so they burn very quickly, so it is a fast change. So here are a few examples, children, of fast changes. Just go through it, like burning of crackers, bursting of crackers, opening of a drawer of a cabinet. It also happens in a few seconds or minutes, isn't it? With a force, you're applying force to pull it or push the drawer of a cabinet. Okay, so it is a fast change. Even the melting of ice, breaking of a glass, and tearing of paper, cracking of a nut. So these are all the fast changes. And now just think about it. What is a slow change now? The slow change that happens very slowly. Okay, it happens very slowly, isn't it? Do you grow up? You have grown up very fast? No, it took years for you to grow up from a small child to the size which you are now. Okay, so children, these changes, just go through the examples of slow changes. How? For example, the fermentation of uh, food, or the rusting of nails, or iron, rusting of iron, it also takes time. So it is also a slow change. Even the animals also. Here you can see the picture, a small puppy. He grows up into a big dog. Here a kitten is given. So here a kitten is growing up into a big cat. So it takes time for it to grow, a few months. Okay. So these are a few examples, children, for slow changes. So just think about it before giving the answer. Okay. So here now coming to physical and chemical changes, children. What is a physical change? So changes are broadly classified into physical changes and chemical changes. So coming to physical change is a temporary or reversible change. It is a reversible change, physical change. For example, I have already told you the example of a rubber band. If you just pull a rubber band, elongate it, and you leave it, it comes back to its normal position. So it is happening physically, you are doing it with your hands, isn't it? And it is a temporary change. You cannot change it permanently. If you change it permanently, like a permanent change in the sense, if you're burning the plastic, okay, if you are burning a plastic, then what happens in that? Can you bring back it at the normal shape if you're burning the plastic? No, you can't, because it will be melted down completely. The plastic, it melts down completely. You can't bring back into its normal shape. But burning of a candle, if a candle is burned, children, what happens here? If a candle is burned, you can bring back to its, again, when it is melted, when it is melting, it is a form of liquid. And when it solidifies, again it forms wax. So if you mold it into a proper shape, then it will take a shape of a candle again. Okay. So it is a reversible change. So here it is happening physically. Okay. It is happening physically. So children, now another point for physical change we'll see. No new products are formed. New products are not formed because they are reversible. Again, they take their normal shape. No new substances formed here. Here, heat and light are generally not observed or evolved. Heat and light are not observed in this physical change because they are reversible. These changes do not affect the chemical composition and chemical properties of the substance. So this physical change, it do not affect any chemical composition or any chemical properties of the substance. These changes can show variation in state of matter. They show variations in the state of matter. Like, for example, if you see here, the physical change is happening here. You're cutting the wood. Here, you're applying the force on this. If you try to cut this wood, can you bring back? So some are reversible and some are irreversible physical changes. Like the cutting of wood, if you see. So can you attach back this wood? No, you cannot. So here, physically, you're doing the work. Physically, you're cutting the wood. So it is a physical change, but it is a irreversible one. Some are reversible and some are irreversible. Just don't get confused. These changes can show variation in state of matter, energy, physical appearance, or arrangement of molecules. So examples for this are here. I have shown you the cutting of wood, and a few more examples are melting of ice. During the melting of ice, no new substance is formed, isn't it? You're using only water and it is solidifying, and again it is converting into a solid, just like ice. Keep your camera, children. Already Principal Ma'am have warned you to keep your camera during the class. Keep your camera on, everyone. Okay. So here, if you see examples, melting of ice, melting of wax. So after melting of ice, you can again, you can solidify it. So it is a reversible process like melting of wax also. So here, if you see a few more examples are, uh, these are reversible, which I have talked just now, melting of ice and melting of wax. So a few more which are irreversible, which we cannot bring back into normal shape. The examples for irreversible are crumbling of a sheet of paper. If you just crumble a sheet of paper, can you bring back into its normal state? No, you cannot. Okay. So children, yes, what is this? Why you all are chatting here? Okay, children. Just don't chat behind. It's really bad. Yes, children. So now examples for physical change are which are some are reversible and some are irreversible. We have discussed about the reversible changes. Okay, like melting of ice, melting of wax. Now examples for irreversible changes are crumpling of a sheet of paper, casting silver in a mold, breaking of a glass, boiling of water, mixing sand and water, etc. Okay, so in this, breaking of glass is an irreversible process here. Breaking of glass, can you attach it back if a glass is broken? No, you cannot. So it is a physical change, but it is irreversible change. In this, you can give for physical changes, you can give the examples for irreversible or reversible. Any of the example you can give. For physical change, what is physical change actually? It is happening with physically you are applying some force. Physically, if you are breaking something, physically, if you are cutting the wood. So physically, if you are doing, so those are physical changes. Changes which are brought by applying some force. But these do not observe, or heat energy or light energy is not evolved in this. Okay, and no new substance is formed. Clear, children? Just write it down, the differences of physical and chemical changes in your notebook. Please note it down, children. While the teacher is explaining in the class, you can note down the important points which you cannot find it in your books. Okay, just note down these differences between physical and chemical change. Now coming to chemical change, please note it down. Now coming to chemical change, children. What is a chemical change? The chemical change is, it is happening by you're mixing one or two chemicals together. The change will happen. Chemically, the change is happening. The reaction is taking place. Chemical changes are happening in the particular liquid. So it is a permanent and irreversible change. This will be permanent and irreversible. Chemical changes are permanent and irreversible. Okay, but physical change are temporary and reversible and irreversible. Both physical change can be reversible and irreversible. But for chemical change, they are permanent and irreversible. New products are formed. Generally, energy is either observed or evolved during change. Okay, energy is either evolved during or observed during this change. But if you see here in physical change, the energy is neither observed nor evolved during this change. Okay, energy is neither observed or evolved in this change, in physical change. But in chemical change, if you see, energy is observed or evolved. Energy is either observed or evolved during this change. Okay, there is a big difference in neither and either. Okay, don't get confused. Here, energy is not observed or released in this change because it is happening physically. But in chemical reaction, the energy is either they are observing the energy, or they will observe the energy, or in some reactions they will evolve, they will release the energy. Okay, they'll do both the things. So here, children, the examples for this chemical changes are change of milk into curd and burning of, it is not a suitable example actually. Change of milk into curd, you can give the example for this. Okay, and a few more examples I'll give. If you have finished writing, I'll show it to you. I just changed the slide and I'll show it, the examples. So here, if you see, if you burn this wood, what happens is here, chemical change is taking place. Okay, chemical change is taking place. It is burning, the wood is burning into ashes and smoke is coming out. So this and a few more examples of chemical changes are like mixing of acid and base, like HCl and sodium hydroxide, NaOH, and hydrochloric acid. So here, what is formed if you mix sodium chloride and water are formed. If you mix hydrochloric acid, HCl, and NaOH, sodium hydroxide together, then what is formed here? A chemical reaction is taking place. Sodium chloride and water is formed. Okay, I'll just write it down for you to avoid this confusion. No need to write such a complicated reaction. So easy examples you can give, like rusting of iron. Okay, you can give rusting of iron, changing of milk into curd. These are the chemical reactions, students. You can give the examples like this. And a few more examples like carbon dioxide, when dissolved in water, forms carbonic acid. Okay. When carbonic acid is allowed to rest, the carbon dioxide escapes out in the form of bubbles. Like you drink the cool drinks like Sprite, Coca-Cola, in that you'll find bubbles. So this carbon dioxide, it escapes out in the form of bubbles. So you just these drinks are carbonated. Why? Because the carbonic acid is present inside it. Carbon dioxide is dissolved in water in these cool drinks. So that's why the bubbles come out. Okay. So this is a chemical change again. Is this clear? Everyone, any doubts? If any doubts are there, just raise your hands. I can clear it off. Okay. Aishwita, once again, I'll just unmute you. Yes, Agastya.
Ma'am, cutting of wood also an example of physical change, no ma'am?
Yes, it's a physical change. If you burn it, then it will be a chemical change because it is turning into ashes.
Yes.
Aishwita, keep your camera. Yes, Rudranish.
Ma'am, can you show us previous slide, ma'am? You told to
Yeah,
write.
I will. I will show you. Yes, Aishwita.
Ma'am, once again, can you explain of physical and chemical change, ma'am? I have joined lately.
Okay. Okay. Once again, I'll just change the slide. You can mute yourself, Aishwita and Rudranish. Yes, Hanvita.
Ma'am, for this, what we should write heading, ma'am?
For what? Physical change.
For
First, you have to write physical and chemical change. It comes under, yeah.
ma'am means we should not not write like this differences.
You can write the differences also. You have to write in the tabular form only.
Ma'am, we should write in the table form only.
Yes, tabular form only. And after finishing all the classes, just go through the page number 5 and page number 7. Okay.
Page number. Okay, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, tomorrow classes are there, ma'am.
I'll inform you regarding that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
You can even ask Jess. Yeah.
Ma'am, and tomorrow all the exams will be all the subjects.
Yes, just like how you have written previously your GA, the same way you have to write.
Tomorrow, ma'am.
Means,
Yes, tomorrow.
ma'am, French class is also there. No, ma'am, means French
Yeah.
exam will also be.
No, because you have started very late now, so that's why only 2 classes I think you have heard.
Ma'am, only French, who took French only, they should write, ma'am, first.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, children, I'll just mute you all. Just note it down, everyone. I'll explain it again about physical and chemical change.
Ma'am, wait, this.
Okay, children. So now coming to physical change. Physical change are generally temporary and reversible and irreversible. They can be reversible and irreversible. Okay, physical change. But if you come to chemical change is permanent. It and irreversible. It is not reversible. Okay, whereas physical change, it is reversible and irreversible. Like for example, cutting of wood is an reversible or irreversible? It is an irreversible process because you cannot attach back the wood which you have cut it. Okay. So in physical change, both the changes you can see, reversible and irreversible. Okay. Example for reversible is like uh, if you just elongate a rubber band, okay, if you leave it, it comes back. And if you just fill the air in the balloon, it just swells a balloon. And then if you remove the air from that, it comes back to its normal shape. And if you just go on uh, filling the air in the balloon, then it will burst. Up to a certain extent, it can. So both reversible and irreversible examples you can see in this physical change. Here you are applying the force physically. Physically, you are filling the air in the balloon. Okay, you're doing it with your hands physically. It means physically you're doing something. So in chemical change, chemically it happens. The reactions happen chemically. So the chemicals are involved in this. Here it is irreversible. Like you cannot bring back to its normal state. Like for example, a milk changing into curd. If once the milk is changed into curd, you can't make the curd into milk back, isn't it? You cannot make the curd back into milk. It is irreversible. So this changes like which cannot be reversed back. Those are called as chemical changes. And a few chemicals are also involved. Like uh, I have given you the example of hydrochloric acid, HCl, when it is reacted with NaOH, then it gives out, it forms sodium chloride, NaCl, and water. Okay, so no need to go in detail about this complicated reactions. So you can give a simple reaction like rusting of iron and carbon dioxide when dissolved in water. Okay, especially when carbon dioxide is dissolved in water, in the liquids like in cool drinks, what you drink like Sprite, Pepsi, and Coca-Cola. So in these drinks, they just add this carbon dioxide is dissolved in water to form carbonic acid. Okay, so this carbonic acid, when it is allowed to rest, then the carbon dioxide escapes out in the form of bubbles. This is why the cool drinks which you drink, when you open, they just lose their fizz out. Like the bubbles, they come out when as soon as you open the cool drinks bottle cap. Then the carbon dioxide tries to escape out. A sound will come, no? When you open it. So this is why the sound comes, because the carbon dioxide tries to escape out. So now it's clear. So generally here, if you see in physical change, children, no new products are formed. Here in chemical change, new products are formed. For physical change, if you see, generally the energy is not observed and even it is not released out during this change. Like melting of ice or melting of wax. Here if you see for chemical change, children, generally the energy is either observed or evolved during this change, because a reaction is taking place, a chemical change is taking place in this. For example, change of milk into curd. Okay. So here, if you see the examples of physical change and chemical change, there are few more examples which are given in your book. You can refer to your book, page number 6, page number 5 and 6 for physical and chemical changes. Further, if you want, you can go in detail. I have explained, but once you go through the lesson, you'll be clearly understanding it. Okay. And now, children, coming to desirable, and here are a few examples if you want to see the physical and chemical changes. Chopping of wood and cutting of bread, but melting of ice is a physical change, but it is a reversible. It can be reversed. Okay. Here in this physical changes, there are both reversible and irreversible changes included. No need to confuse. So here if you see chemical changes, burning of wood and rotting of banana and fireworks. Fireworks, when they are burned completely, they cannot be bring back. You cannot bring back to its normal state. Okay, so one second, children. So here, if you see, the transformation of one thing into another is called a change. What is a change actually? So change is transformation of one thing into another. It's called change. You say that something, it is changing. For example, the mango when it is raw, it will be green in color, isn't it? But it changes into yellow when it ripens. It changes its color. So here you can see a change. What is the change? Transformation of one thing into another. Okay? You're changing. You're seeing if a tree is there, a mango tree is there in your house, you can see the changes of color. Slowly it will be changing. So it is called a change. Change is nothing but transformation of one thing into another. You can write it down in your notebook. Because again, you must not say that, ma'am, you didn't told this to us. If you just go through your books, whatever you have written in your notebooks, whatever the important things which your teacher is telling in the class, you have to note it down in your class books, children. Because it might not be there in your course books. Okay? Note it down. No need to take any screenshots because the screenshots will be there in the phone itself. You'll not be writing it in your book again. Write it down. Devishi, don't take the screenshot. Write it down in your notebook because if you just turn your books and read it, you can remember it. Write down the transformation of one thing into another. It's called change. Like change in color. Example also you can note it down. Yes, Hanvita.
Ma'am, we should write this after chemical changes.
Yes. This comes under desirable and undesirable changes. Write down the heading. Once again, I'll write it here. Just write the heading. One second. Desirable and undesirable changes. Write it down so I'll just slightly increase it in size. You can see it here.
Ma'am, we should write point-wise, ma'am.
Please write it down one by one. I'll show you another slide also.
Ma'am, your voice is tracking, ma'am.
Okay, now I think it's clear now.
Yes, ma'am. Not.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
finish all.
No, ma'am.
So here, if you see, some changes that occur around us may be desirable and some may be undesirable. Like desirable in the sense, what is desirable? Which may be, which you can like, which you like, desirable, which are very pleasant to see,
Done.
which are very pleasant to see.
Ma'am, done.
Okay. So these some are desirable and some are undesirable. What is the meaning of this undesirable? You may not like. Undesirable in the sense you may not like, you may not willing. Because if, for example, if you just want to eat the banana or if you want to eat the mango, you just ate 2 or 3 mangoes in one day. One day you ate and you kept a few mangoes that you'll eat tomorrow. Okay, I'll eat tomorrow. Or for example, banana if you want to eat. So when you saw it the next day, you saw that it has been rotten. It has been spoiled a little bit. Banana. So are you just wish to eat that? No. You feel very you feel like, oh, I just thought of eating it tomorrow, but it's spoiled. You feel very bad, isn't it? So these are some of the undesirable changes which you do not like to happen. But the changes happen, okay? Like rotting of the fruits, spoiling of milk. Okay, so these are undesirable. You may not like them. Have you understood the difference between desirable and undesirable? Desirable are which you like, that you were waiting for a mango to ripe. It was green in color. Earlier it was green in color and you were waiting eagerly that when this mango will ripen on, if you have a tree, mango tree, then you'll be waiting for that mango to ripen so that it will become yellow in color and it will become increase in size and then you can eat it. It will be very yummy and you'll be waiting. So it is a desirable change. The change which is taking place in the mango, it is becoming ripened, it is becoming yellow. It is a desirable change. Okay. So here, along with the change in color, so now we have seen the change in color. Now change in size. What is change in size? Like the changes which we see, changes in your, if you see your nails will be growing, isn't it? So it is a change in size. Size is increasing. A few more examples of changing in sizes, like you can see around you, changes in sizes, like trees growing, isn't it? Trees are growing. They are changing. Their size is changing. Okay, and change in shape. What is change in shape? Change in shape. The example for that is bud opening out into a flower. It is changing its shape. And even fruits also. Fruits are changing their shape. Okay. When a small fruit is there, it is growing big and then it will ripe and it change its color. So you can see change in size, change in shape, change in color. Okay. And a few things together you can see, like for fruits and flowers. Small bud will be there. It will change its size, it will change its shape, and then when the flower it blooms, it changes its color also. It will be bright red in color. A rose will be of so many colors, isn't it? They will change their color, they will change their shape, size, everything. Okay, now is it clear? So these are all, a few are desirable, a few are undesirable. So what are desirable in this? So we'll see this last one, the change in position also. If you see this change in position, children, what is an example for this? You can say like hands of a clock. They change their position. Okay, they'll be moving, they'll be changing continuously. And even Earth will be revolving around the sun. So it is a change in position. It will be changing, but we cannot see it. But the hands of a clock we can see. We can see it physically. We can see it because it will be in, before our eyes. We can see it physically with our eyes. A clock we can see. So this is an example. So children, I'll just say a few desirable and undesirable changes like spoiling of milk. I'll just raise your hands. Now if you can give me the answer, can you say a few desirable changes which you like? Desirable changes. Can you give a few examples of desirable changes, children? Yes, who one?
Ma'am, changes in color. The raw mango changes its color when it is light to yellow.
Yes. Mango from green to yellow. Yes, Divishi.
Ma'am, voice is ma'am.
Yes, Rehan.
Ma'am, when winter changes to summer.
Yes, winter changes to summer. So, is it desirable or undesirable?
Changes into dark.
Yes, Rihit, it is desirable or undesirable. You can bear the hot summer.
Desirable. Yes,
You can
ma'am.
bear it.
Yes, ma'am.
But a few children, they can't. Because it
For
will be
me, it
very
is
hot.
desirable change, ma'am.
I don't like summer.
Yeah, okay. But for few children, it is undesirable.